It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I have with me in the studio a journalist, Dare Odufowokan. Thank you so much for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
And a lecturer, University of Lagos, Dan Ekere. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome. So let's really delve into the newspaper, what the papers are saying this morning. First is the Punch newspaper, where we have the screaming headline, the banner headline, stations run out of petrol. Scarcity paralyzes states. Then the writers read, queues persist in Lagos, Abuja, others, transport fares skyrocket, and small businesses grounded. Labour threatens strike, PDP flays silver. And above the nameplate we have, Kyari may spend more days in detention as NDLEA approaches court. Then ASUU films as federal government declares strike illegal. Quite interesting there. The next is this Nigeria. The kicker reads, worsening fuel scarcity and tales of agony. Commuters in Lagos, Abuja, others groan. Black market booms. NLC blames hoarders. Kyari, NNPC GMD begs Nigerians, says issue will soon be resolved. Now, leadership newspaper, NNPC apologizes to Nigerians over bad fuel, long queues. That's according to the leadership newspaper. NNPC apologizes to Nigerians over bad fuel, long queues. Daily Times is next. PMS scarcity, NNPC apologizes to Nigerians to inject 2.1 billion naira liters soon. And writer reads, says, cooperation working towards local refining. And blueprint. Yet so that the Daily Times say NNPC apologizes to Nigerians to inject 2.1 billion liters. Rather, they said that they'll be doing that soon. Now, blueprints carry to Nigerians. We are sorry. Fuel scarcity will soon be over. And the writers read, says, mop-up of adulterated PMS responsible for crisis. The marketers are sure of clean petrol. And PDP slams federal government over use of 201 billion naira to clean toxic fuel. Daily Sun reads, NNPC marketers begin 24-hour operations to end fuel scarcity. And scarcity bites harder in Lagos, Abuja, Makurdi, others. 2.3 billion liters of petrol to arrive by month end. Let's move breezily to Daily Independence, which has its headline, we've filed liquidated damages against importers. That's according to the NNPC boss. Nigerian Tribune is next. Adulterated fuel. NNPC files claims for damages against suppliers. Queues will disappear by next week. That's scary. And give up petroleum ministry, PDP tells President Buhari. And national economy is next. Losses from adulterated fuel. Bad economics for Nigeria. They said perpetrators must not go unpunished. That's according to experts. And NNPC says, we are sorry, we didn't see it coming. We are sorry, we didn't see it coming. The Nation newspaper is next. 5 petrol-laden vessels from Belgium turned back. NNPC is saying why we rejected consignment and scarcity spreads to more states. Well, and the bottom strip reads, Ekiti governorship, Oni drops Abga, plan for SDP, 8 killed in Aba market. The Vanguard is next. NDLEA to police, drug cartel working with DCP Kyari, not our officers. And then we go to Daily Trust, how top police brass tried to shield Kyari. NDLEA tackles NPF again. IGP meets CJN. The first news is reads, insecurity, Zamfara residents pay 40.7 million naira protection levy to bandits. News Direct is next. Deployable correctional centers. Reps probe Aregbesola Nababa over 165 billion naira prison budget. Quite interesting. And the Guardian newspaper is next. Young Nigerians defy CBN ban, gamble on risky crypto assets. Wow. And last but not the least, business day, 24-hour power dawns for Aba as Geometric gets to work. Oh, let's talk about some of these newspaper headlines. Let me start with you, Odufowokan. Well, the NNPC says, we are sorry, we didn't see it coming. They didn't see it coming, actually.
They didn't see the bad fuel coming, or they didn't know the fuel was adulterated, or that we don't have mechanisms to check. The Standard Organization of Nigeria is not involved. The Department of Quality Control within the NNPC went to sleep. Well, the deed is already done, and the best we can do is accept the fact that they are sorry. They should be sorry indeed. They really should be sorry, and it's no news that they are sorry. What would be news to me is seeing certain people pay for this. This is when people develop confidence in the system, and things like this happen. Quite costly mistake. Let's agree it's a mistake. It's quite costly, and there should be people paying for this with their jobs. We should see a number of resignations by now, honorably. Oh, for this to have happened, a national embarrassment as it is. I think I have to leave. I think I failed in my duties. It should not be a collective we are sorry. Who is sorry now? Who unleashed this on us? We still don't know. But beyond that, I can see NNPC has been doing a lot of confusing to Nigerians. I mean, they've been confusing us a lot. Weeks back, before all this started, NNPC will tell us with all confidence that we are the sole importer of petroleum products. Now we are hearing things like we have filed for damages against the importers. Who are the importers? Who are these importers? How did these importers get into the picture? When you, at a point in time, said you've taken over the whole business of importing fuel for the purpose of ensuring that Nigeria is not shortchanged. Suddenly, because we have an issue, you want to shift blame. You want to pass the buck. Then we now have certain importers being named. And then one or two mentioned, turned around and said, no, we didn't import adulterated fuel. And I've not heard NNPC saying, no, you did, or yes, you did. So why are people trying to deceive us? The deed is done, hold up to it, serve your punishment. I expect that by now the group managing director of NNPC should be out of that office. You cannot tell me you want to investigate him and he's still sitting atop that chair and you want me to believe something good will come out of the investigation. No, we need to sit up and do more than we are doing now.
Let me get Dan's opinion on this. Losses from adulterated fuel, bad economics for Nigeria. This is really a trying time. This it has caused Nigerians a lot of harrowing. They've experienced a lot of harrowing, things around here and there, looking for petrol. So how do you think this has affected the Nigerian economy? And as a matter of fact, Dari still believes in the justice system in the country that heads must roll.
Yeah, thank you. But I think the first thing we should establish, who is the petroleum minister? Because that's one challenge. The president is the minister of petroleum. Silva is only an assistant, kind of, the minister of state. Yeah. So what is the place of the minister of petroleum on this particular issue? That is one office we must address. Then the next thing is the group managing director of the NNPC. Because so far, for what we know, NNPC is the one that imports fuel. So if you choose to give franchise or whatever to anybody to bring it in on your behalf, it is still you we know. So the question of investigation, that's why I'm a bit worried each time I hear they are carrying out investigation. I'll be wondering who is investigating what. You should know who brought what. So by now, it would have been a thing of, okay, A and B, or A or B, whichever did this. And this is the penalty. Now, that is on the side of, the public and the NNPC. The next thing is, what about those who are affected as a result of, this evil arrangement that you made that brought in this kind of, challenge to people? Vehicles are damaged, plants are, in fact, a lot of people are affected. And not only that, you've equally caused a lot of pains to the people. Because if you have left this thing open to everybody to import, they will know that it can come through any source. You have taken it over. And now you are creating a problem of scarcity of a kind. You are creating a problem of evil suspicion of whether what I'm buying is actually the good one. But we are yet to even ascertain that all the bad one has been cleared off.
Right.
That has not been confirmed to us. So you can't be too sure of what you're ever buying now, because we don't have the means to test. And I expected that the NNPC should have all of that. So for me, it's a real challenge. And for NNPC to say that they are taking some persons filing damages against who? So what about the public? Who would they file their damages against now? Because the public is equally suffering. A lot of people have, had challenges as a result of this. So for me, it's really a very worrisome situation. And I'm so troubled that we have a president who is equal. I don't know the idea of keeping the office of the Minister of Petroleum. I thought that he has something special to offer in that regard, so that should there be anything, without overriding influence, he will be able to take care of it. At the moment, that is not happening. He should relinquish that office.
Well, are you optimistic that this will definitely, come to, let's say, the experience will be minimal when it comes, because the NNPC says they've given an order to the NNPC, depots and all the fuel stations to supply or to work 24 hours a day. So this will help
so
reduce the effect.
Have you been
It was just a directive yesterday.
Yes. So let's wait. Today is a day after the directive. We'll see whether they will work 24 hours. They will equally provide security for all of them to work 24 hours. Because we are in a country that is seriously challenged. But I want to believe that this problem is more in Lagos and Abuja. Because from the reports we got, a lot of other places, things are going normally. Now, as a result of this challenge, you now have those boys coming back to the streets to start selling with kegs and the rest of it.
Black market.
In the course of that, things even getting worse. Don't equally forget that this creates a lot of danger, even to people, in terms of homes, people trying to stock these things and all of that. These challenges are there. We must begin to look at them very critically. As for hope as to whether the thing will be, I know with time it will be over, but whether this investigation will have any headway is something I'm yet to be convinced.
Well, it remains to be seen how this is going to pan out at the end of the day. Let's change tack by looking at what First News reported, is reporting. Insecurity, Zamfara residents pay 40.7 million naira protection levy to bandits. Zamfara residents pay 40.7 million naira protection levy to bandits. Dari, I would like to start with you. Yesterday in your analysis, I felt some sort of, some level of despair in the fight against insecurity in this country to bring it to a standstill, despite being one of its pedestal, the pedestal of this administration promises.
Coming into office, like I said yesterday, it's always a sad experience reading about security in Nigeria today, because if you juxtapose what you read today against the background of the hopes and the confidence with which Nigerians ushered in this administration, especially on the pedestal of insecurity as it were. Then now, we are having a general come to office who will end all this in no time. Almost 7 years after, things are practically worse than it was then. Extremely on the wrong side. You read it out. Our resident paid 40 point some. The alternative to paying this money is losing their lives. The alternative is losing their. We have friends, we have reporters, we have correspondences in these states, Zamfara, Katsina, as it were today. These are two states that more than half of the expanse of land in these states are under the control of bandits, terrorists, and other criminal gangs. It's not just about bandits and kidnappers. There are street gangs. In some local governments in Katsina, These gangs live within the people, and they have formed a government of their own, demanding levies and ransoms without even kidnapping people. They just tell you, for you not to be kidnapped, you want to go to your farm and come back safely. This is the amount you'll be paying monthly. Failure to pay, you are weeks away. There have been kidnappings done, not reported. High profile, the DSS persons have been kidnapped. Commissioners, lawmakers, high profile businessmen have been kidnapped, their families kidnapped, and settlements made without recourse to police or media, because you are even told in clear terms that if you go to the police and these perpetrators are arrested, you can be rest assured that will come for your family. So a lot of people now live in fear, perpetual fear. And you look around, in all this, my brother, you won't find security operatives anywhere anymore. It's like we have simply surrendered. No, the security operatives in Nigeria have simply surrendered those terrains to the people punishing and making life difficult to the residents.
I still have one thing to ask you, because you're as a journalist, but let me ask Dan. Well, bandits, no, not that, Super Tucano, fighter jets, and all sorts, and all of the monies that have gone into prosecuting this war against insecurity, and talk about terrorists, bandits, whatever, what have you. Does it appear like the almighty Super Tucano jet that has come to Nigeria has not really delivered the job we're asking it to do?
Well, it seems as if from all indications, the government is overwhelmed with this issue of security. We overrated the government. Our expectation, perhaps, I wouldn't say it was unfounded, being that the president is a retired general, but what we fail to recognize is the fact that this is beyond being a general. It is something that has to do with, a higher level of, mobilization, intelligence, and what have you, and even resources. Then again, it equally calls for the political will to deal decisively with so many of these issues. Because a situation where farmers cannot go to farm, people cannot sleep with their eyes closed, people have to pay tax. You said no part of Nigeria is under Boko Haram territory. But what we have today, we have bandits who are within the town. Some will be told they even took over school premises. So
what do you think? What do you think needs to be done?
The idea of trying to, brand bandits as terrorists was to ensure that we can deploy some of these facilities, the Tucano and the rest. Right. But again, you don't just put Tucano to work and begin to maybe bomb everywhere. Yeah. You need to have proper intelligence. We saw how an IDP camp was bombed the other time. I don't think that's the idea of
let me jump in your line of thoughts. Yeah. One of the state governors, Zulum, said that, Governor Umar Zulum said that the government should employ mercenaries to fight this insecurity battle. And looks like the Nigerian soldiers are overwhelmed, and they really don't have that super firepower to topple these insurgents.
That's correct. So? But mine is not about mercenaries. Yes, you can call for collaboration. You can call for assistance. Because this thing is not just within Nigeria alone. However, it seems as if the effect or the major focus is on Nigeria. So why not, see how you can work with these neighboring countries and see that they actually bring to bear their forces, with yours in order to deal with this issue decisively. But again, we must be truthful to ourselves. That's another challenge. To tell us that no territory is under Boko Haram, is under this, whereas the governors of those states are telling us that we have social local governments and the rest that are under terrorists or whatever. And I think it's not helping the matter. We need to be played to ourselves.
Right. Because of time, Barry, I'll be asking this question as a journalist, because we still tend to see on the pages of newspapers, referring to bandits. No, terrorists as bandits. Where are we? Which one are we calling them? They've been named terrorists.
They even say we went all through the process, got court judgments, had it gazetted, and all that. The media, at times, we also contribute to these problems. I am not always comfortable when I still see the word bandits. Who are bandits? Check the dictionary meaning of bandit and you see how loose this term we are giving to these hardened criminals. These are obvious terrorists. They are commercial terrorists, economic terrorists, and security terrorists. All forms of terrorism have been perpetrated by them, and yet we are more comfortable referring to them by that pedestal name, bandits. I think we should call these people who they are. Maybe this will help the international community to understand their plight. Then talking about the need for mercenary or external, if we need to say, oh, our army can no longer handle this, we need paid fighters, please, let's do it. What is important now is let's save the life of Nigerians daily being killed. Let's make these areas more, safer for people to live. It is obvious that if we are to rely on our own security network, we can no longer handle this matter. The Tucano jets are here, for God's sake. We waited for these ones for years. I am particularly disappointed as far as security is concerned. This is a government I always want to give kudos to in certain areas, truth be told. But when it comes to the issue of security, my disappointment cannot be measured.
Right. We have just less than 3 minutes, and I'll be putting this question to you because you're from the academia. ASUU strike unnecessary. That's according to the federal government. Ngige said, we paid you 100 billion naira.
They didn't pay us 100 billion. Who did they pay? They speak as if they don't even know the words they are using. Paid who? Who did they pay? When you release money to a university, you didn't pay ASUU. As Ngige or the Minister of Finance ever released money to ASUU. You didn't pay money to ASUU. So it's a wrong use of language. You can say you release money to universities, but what we are saying is different from you. Normally, universities are supposed to be funded by the government.
Right.
But our own is about an agreement on several issues. One, the software or the platform through which you make payment. You give us a challenge, we give you the product eventually. You've done all the testing clearly from your test. You judge this thing to be okay, and yet you even agree that you within a short time you are going to deploy it.
Okay, the minister said that 40 billion naira as end allowances was paid in February, 30 billion naira paid in October for revitalization, while 22.72 billion naira streamed into the 2021 budget was paid in November 2021. That's part of the breakdown.
Okay, that is not correct. But let's assume that this money was paid. Are they still owing us end academic allowances? Should they owe us? Is Ngige himself being owed anything? Is the Minister of Education owed anything? Tell me which of those high-flying position office holders is being owed. Why should we be owed to start with? It's so unreasonable for anybody to say, I paid you this, I paid it. When you are owing, why not pay the whole thing? Why are you doing it in piecemeal? Because we are not saying dash us money, give us money. You are owing us what we have worked for. Release it to us. The question of revitalization is a different thing. We have a bargain on that. Then apart from that, even the one you paid, you are collecting it through the back door with your IPPIS and the rest. Deploy the platform we have agreed on.
Right.
Why not honor the agreement? So that all these issues of back and forth will be out of it.
All right, so we have just less than a minute left, and I would like to take your own view on ASUU.
Well,
is strike then the only option that we have?
In labor relations, strike is not criminal. I'll put it that way. And it is always the last resort whenever that thing has failed. However, in this case, I think there is a new approach or new issue, in my own opinion. Shouldn't the federal government ask the university management how they've been spending the ones released? If ASUU is saying we are not seeing money, and government is saying we released money, and the headings for which these monies are released are tied to the agreements reached. So I think we should have an inquest into how has the universities been spending the money released.
ASUU has actually called for that. We've invited government to actually send visitor teams.
We'll see what happens at the end of the day. We're actually closely monitoring this issue as a journalist and as a lecturer. Well, I say thank you to our guest who had actually, spoken about some of the headlines in the newspaper. Journalist Dario Odufowokan and lecturer, University of Lagos, Dan Ekere. Thank you very kindly for your insights.